Hello, my name is Faith and you're welcome back to the AFM Stories YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be talking to you about common accommodation scams and errors that international students fall for. So this is like the peak period for international students accommodation. Lots of people are trying to go to travel abroad for their masters. Lots of people are actually processing their visa and things like that. This is a period where scamming is on the high. So it's important that you protect yourself from getting scammed, so that you don't pay money to somebody and the person disappears, or you don't pay for something and you get there and you're unhappy about it. If you watched my previous video on accommodation where I talked about the easiest way to book your student accommodation, I recommended a platform called Amber Student, and I think that platform is really going to help you to reduce the chances of scamming. Basically, all of the points I'm going to be sharing right now will be greatly reduced if you just use the platform. Literally, the link to using the platform is in the link in my description box. But anyways, let's get into common accommodation scams so that you do not get scammed. Okay, so the first one and the most common one that international students fall for, obviously they know that you're trying to manage your funds. You don't want to spend a lot of money because, let's be honest, the fees are really expensive, so you don't want to pay too much for accommodation. So what a lot of these scamming agents do is a typical normal accommodation that is gorgeous, that is beautiful. They'll take pictures of it, put it online, and then make the price ridiculously cheap. If you're trying to book for an accommodation and you see that the price is ridiculously cheap, please run. Like, don't wait, just literally run away. Don't let anybody deceive you, because, and how will you know that it's ridiculously cheap? When you're checking for properties, when you're checking for ways to book your accommodation, when you're going on these letting sites, or you're going on or when you're getting guided on how to get your accommodation, and you see that typically properties around that area are, let's say, £500. So let's say an ensuite in that area is £500 or £350, and then you see an ensuite that is extremely fine, or a studio at £200, you should start to say, okay, red flag, why is it this cheap? They're making it that cheap so that you can quickly jump on it, and they put a sense of urgency on you. And this leads me to my next point. If the agent is putting too much of a sense of urgency on you, and then they tell you something like, oh, can you quickly pay the deposit right now? I don't have the time to arrange a viewing, or I cannot show you till you pay a deposit. 90% of the time is a scam. So the first thing is it being outrageously cheap, right? Sometimes it might not be outrageously cheap, and this second step still applies. So if you're trying to interact with an agent or a landlord or somebody that owns a house, and they tell you that they are not available to show you the property, that you should just check the pictures, or you should go around the outskirts of the property, so like maybe to view the exterior of the property, but they cannot take you inside, it's a scam. I'll tell you a story. So I did have a friend that almost got scammed. She saw a property that was so amazing, so gorgeous, nice, typical pricing, so it wasn't too cheap, but the place was so beautiful that she was convinced that was where she wanted to go. And then while processing everything, they sent her a long contract. She had signed the contract. They had booked a viewing for, let's say, Saturday. Or no, it was a Friday. So Friday. And then early in the morning, the agent just calls her on that day of the viewing. Oh, before I can come and view this property, you need to pay a deposit, because I've had many people that make me come all the way and they don't pay eventually. That sounds logical, right? Wrong. It's a scam. Anybody that wants you to pay money without viewing the property is scamming you. Anybody that cannot give you direct access to the property and to see them one-on-one is scamming you. Now, I know that you're an international student and it might be difficult for you to see the property, but a good way for you to beat this, really, there are virtual viewings. You can liaise with students already in the school or family to view it, or you can use platforms like I've mentioned. Just check the link in the description box below, and you have a platform there that allows you to bypass all of this and to reduce the stress of using agents that will scam you. So please guys, avoid that. Anybody that says that to you, just block them and run, right? The next thing is the location not looking the same, right? So when they put a sense of urgency on you, they can tell you things like, oh, the place is currently under construction, so we cannot show you. Run. If they tell you that they're in another country, they've traveled in that period, they're not around, nobody can show you. Run. These are actually real things that they say, guys. I'm sure you must have heard them. Now, location not looking the same, right? They can tell you the place is under construction, so you look at the place and everywhere is all scattered and everything. Do not pay for a place that you've not seen the final product. There are so many other options. You don't need to pay for somewhere that there's currently construction going on, because I've had friends that paid for a place and then the landlord said they were fixing it. By the time they moved in, the first day the door fell, so the landlord wasn't fixing anything. They were just painting a picture. What you see is what you get. So on the day you view it, be 100% sure that you like what is there and ask them to fix it. If they are going to fix it, let them show you pictures of it already fixed. Don't believe in its work by trying to work on it and work on it after you get there. Don't do it, right? Another thing is fake agents, right? So there are many people that would try to do everything right, play with your mind and try to force you to pay as fast as possible, right? If you are dealing with an agent that doesn't really have any form of official form of communication, so maybe an official email, official website, is using very shady bank account details, not specific names, and it should be, you will get an off vibe. See, if you get any off vibe, guys, just run. There's no even need trying to rationalize it. Just run, literally. Also avoid like agents that just show up on social media. So I tend to avoid social media advertisements because the chances of it being scam is literally higher. I always prefer verified accommodation booking sites, so students verified booking sites, university verified booking sites, agents that maybe you know somebody that has used them and actually got a property. Avoid just meeting random strangers online and trying to book an accommodation with them. A lot of them will sweet talk you and say nice things to you. The moment you pay, you will see that the one-to-one 24/7 support can go off, right? Also guys, this one is not necessarily a scam, but this is like an error, right? So if you see an accommodation that is like extremely cheap, a lot of times, and if it's not a scam, maybe they allow you to see the place, everything. A lot of things that international students miss is whether bills are included. You're an international student, you don't know much about the way the country works. Do not pay for an accommodation that does not have all the bills included. Now, I mean light bills, water bills, data, things like that. You need somewhere that all of your bills are included. So ensure that when you're reading the description, you can see all bills are included. Like guys, that's non-negotiable because you don't want to pay for those things. By the time you start paying for those things, you see that it's even way more than what you were trying to save from going for the cheap place. Plus, because they get it in bulk, it's way cheaper than you and as an individual paying for those things cheaply. So I won't say it's a scam, but I'll say it's an error. So in the whole high of, oh my god, this is so cheap, you might forget to check whether it's bills included, right? Also, this is another one. I won't call it a scam, but one thing I want to say is when you use student accommodations or university accommodations, and there are different flat types, right? So try to compare many different properties. So some properties are priced more because of their location. So whether they are on maybe a penthouse, have a nice angle, whether the room is slightly bigger, or whether there are like 5 people in the room or 4 people in the room or 2 people in the room. So I'll give an example of myself and my friend, right? We stayed in the exact same type of accommodation, but she was paying about £100 more than I was paying. And she was really unhappy about it, right? The reason why she was paying that amount, not because they were scamming her or anything, no, far from it. It's because she picked a flat that had just 3 rooms and I picked a flat that had 5 rooms. At the time I booked it, I just told the accommodation provider that I use, which is Amber students about, you know, my needs and my budget. And because of that budget, they did not bother showing me the 3 flat people or the 2 flat people or 1 flat or even studios, you know. So I got an ensuite room, my bathroom, everything inside, and I was able to stay with 5 flatmates, and I didn't have an issue with it. Like, I even had like a diverse range of people, lots of hangout, lots of chilling. It wasn't even rowdy because it was a bunch of girls. You can also be specific sometimes about the kind of people that you want in your accommodation, whether you want mixed sexes, whether you want male, female, or, you know, non-binary, any form. You can be very specific about the kind of people that you want in your accommodation, you know. So for me, I was just like, anything that makes me feel at home. So I wanted a lot of international students and things like that. But the point is, I ended up in a 5 people apartment and I paid less. And it was the same type of room. The only difference is 2 more flatmates. For international students, you don't really care about things like that because you already have a lot of bills you are paying. So you don't want to pay more for something that is unnecessary. So compare all the different room options to be sure that you're getting the best value in terms of bills being exclusive. Also pay attention to the distance to school. So do not look too much at the distance by road, especially if you are not sure if there's an adequate train network. So try to check about the not really train, bus networks and availability of like bus stations from the accommodation to where you're going. Because some people write 30 by car. Mind you, it's not as if it's Uber you want to book 30 minutes by car. It's not as if it's Uber you want to book. Half the time you actually walk or take bike or take a bus. So it's not by car you'll be looking. You have to check because you don't want to choose somewhere that is going to be really stressful. Going to school is going to be really far. You're going to be stressed out, you know. So yes, be very careful, guys, and I think that you would be fine. Also, I would advise that you don't do live-in landlords. So let's say you decide not to do student accommodation. I've heard people have issues with their live-in landlords, so I would advise that you don't do it, to be honest. Have somewhere that is more student focused, whether it's your university accommodation, whether it's private owned accommodation, whether it's private houses and things like that. Ensure that it's strictly for students. It makes things easier. Alright guys, so I hope that this video was useful. If you want to book your student accommodation, the easiest way to do it is in the link in the description box below, which is Amber Students. I have a specific partnership with them which can be really useful for you. The service is totally free. They help you to search for your accommodation. They help you to process the booking, your payments. They help you to prevent all of these scams. So with them, you're sure that you're not going to be scammed. And I think that that's so important and critical, because I'm making this video because I don't want you to be scammed. And instead of you trying to rack your head and trying to overthink, you already have a platform that makes it straightforward. Alright, so click the link in the description box below, fill the form and let them help you to help yourself. Alright guys, I'll see you in the next video. If you have any further questions, please don't forget to drop them in the description box. Don't forget to drop them in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Share this video with any international student that you know that is coming to the UK. Alright guys, bye!